Hello you guys, and welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Social Studies. My name is Sarah, and today's video I'm going to be talking about my teacher-related goals for 2018. Especially coming back from some time to relax from break. I had some time to see family. Jake and I went out to Colorado to visit some of his relatives for about 5 days, and then we spent a couple days each with Jake's parents and then also with my parents and sister. So definitely a lot of great family time, some chance to catch up on sleep, much needed for me, and work on some projects. Did a few uploads on Teachers Pay Teachers. I'm sure you had a chance to see some of those videos there about kind of a guide of how to do that. But I wanted to take the chance to kind of share some of my teacher related goals. For me, I think talking about them here will be a great way to help me stay accountable, and I also enjoy hearing what other teachers are up to, so maybe you're interested as well. That being said, I have 6 main teacher-related goals for 2018, and technically, these would be whole year goals, but I'm especially thinking of this next semester here. So from January until the end of the school year. My first goal is to have a more established schedule of the time I spend at school. So with this, I actually got the idea from Angela Watson. I recently discovered her work. She has a Truth for Teachers podcast. She has a free webinar talking about ways that you can cut about 3 hours out of your work week as being a teacher. And then also she's got a course or cohort or guide, I guess, about how you can reduce the time you're working as a teacher, and like the 40-hour teacher work week club. So Jake is enrolled in that, and he's telling me some of the facts and things he's learning there. But one of the things that she had talked about in her free webinar, I will link all of this info below, by the way, but one of the things she talked about in her free webinar was the idea of setting an established schedule that you're working on teacher-related things. Her point was that whatever we're doing in life, if we give ourselves 2 hours or 5 hours or 10 hours to do a certain task, sometimes, more often than not, we stretch that task to fill the time. And so with teaching, in some ways you're never done working on it. And so limiting yourself to 2 hours to do a task forces you to get the task done or work in a way that's more efficient. Maybe it's not as perfect or Pinterest worthy or whatever, but you can get the task done compared to if you spend like all day on something, let it take up all of your time there, you still probably won't be done afterwards and you'll still be tweaking things. And so she was very clear about trying to set up specific schedules or boundaries for yourself with your teaching. So for me, I am definitely much more of a night owl person, but I am motivated to set up a more regimented schedule in terms of when I work on school-related things. So I don't yet know what that's going to look like. I know I'm definitely not an early riser, so I'm not planning on getting to school much earlier, but thinking about specific days that I choose to stay longer at school, maybe after school, or even specific times where I'm working at home, but limiting myself to a certain number of hours, have it be really regimented, and then out of sight, out of mind during the other hours. So that's one of my goals. My second goal is to actually do a much better job of organizing my teacher materials. I go through different phases of time where I am putting things together and getting myself more organized, kind of resetting the room, etc. But I need a better system. I did develop a good system that worked at my past school where I was teaching 4 different preps and I had a different filing folder system that worked well. I would go by month, especially because I had block schedules. So some weeks I only taught a class twice during that week or 3 times during the week. But here, since I teach the same students every day, both subjects, I need a much more detailed system of organization in a way that actually, organizes chronologically what we're doing, especially since I only have like the 1 prep, I guess social studies and Spanish in the same class. It makes a lot of sense for me to organize it in that way. So that's definitely a priority of mine that I have been putting off and I want to get better about it. I'm thinking I'm gonna go for a binder type of approach. My third goal is that I want to make more positive phone calls home and do more positive emails home. Shortly before we went on winter break, I did a missing assignments incentive with students, and offered up a bunch of prizes. One of the prizes was that I would call home with only like the positive things about that particular student. And doing that was really fun since I was able to call home to a student from all the classes. And it made me realize that I do want to do that more. I do make positive phone calls periodically, but I would love to just have it be more part of my routine. Like, okay, today is the day of the week. I'm gonna call home to 5 parents and tell them all the good things that their child is doing in school. So it's definitely something I want to do more, especially because I have so many wonderful students who I am very eager to tell all the good things. I just haven't done it yet. So I also think too that I haven't actually been doing as much with email. This year I've been doing much more parent phone calls rather than emails. In the past, it was more so the other way around. I'd be more likely to send an email, but I think also sending an email gives me more flexibility because certain days when my planning time is in meetings or other areas, I feel like the time kind of flew by and I didn't have a chance to make the call. Emails I can do whenever. So that's something I can do as well. My 4th goal has to do with setting up my PARA binder. PARA is the acronym used for our teacher evaluation system, and it is requested that we put together a binder of evidence of the different things we're doing, and I haven't started that yet. I don't need it yet to be finished, but that's definitely a task, especially for January, to go through and get myself organized, lay out all of those pieces of evidence about the ways I am being an effective educator, and it's just something that has to get done. My 5th goal is kind of related to setting up a better routine or being a little bit healthier, and that is getting more sleep. I want to cut myself off by 12:30 a.m. for every night. Now, I know there still will be nights here and there where maybe that's not possible, but I am not proud that my sleep schedule has typically been me going to bed between 1 and 2 a.m. most nights, and especially on school nights and then where you're waking up at like 6:30 the next day, that's definitely not as much sleep as I should be getting. Now, I do seem to function mostly pretty well. Sadly, I'm kind of used to staying up pretty late, but I know definitely like my 3rd year of teaching, I did a better job of going to bed sometime in the 12 o'clock hour. And this year it's been an adjustment with having a new school and new stuff to prepare, but I'm hopeful that I can get back into that. And to help me with that, I plan on getting back into some reading before bed, trying to get myself separated from the computer and my work and be able to do a little reading will hopefully help make me a little bit more tired. And that is something I also look forward to do because I have like a stack of books I've been wanting to read and just haven't put in the time yet. My final goal, my 6th goal for this year is still something I've been doing in the past but just want to do more of, and that's kind of channeling joy. When I transitioned to this new school, at first I wasn't finding as much fulfillment with it and it was tougher for me. I hadn't really set up a good classroom management system before, and so I've definitely improved that. And then my final goal is to channel joy. And then my final goal, which is something that I have already been doing but I want to continue doing more, is to channel joy. Basically be as joyous of a person at school as possible, to not only feel super joyous about it myself, but also to be able to spark joy, hopefully with other coworkers and students. I know I went through a bit of a challenge earlier in the year. I think around October was when I felt it the most, where I just felt like I didn't have the kind of relationship I wanted with my students. I didn't feel like I was being as positive of a person. I know some of that stemmed from coming from a school where I felt like I was beloved and really part of the school community and really connected with a lot of the other teachers there, and didn't have any classroom management issues, so therefore I didn't really have a system for classroom management. Came to this school and struggled at first, had to kind of figure out my way of dealing with those things. I think it's definitely gotten a lot better, and I kind of made a shift starting around, I think November or early November, late October, and it's been much more positive. I genuinely am back to that place of loving my job and loving being there. I adore the kids. And so it's been a big step in the right direction. And I think that I'm a pretty positive person in general, but trying to really channel joy and be someone who is really excited to be there, and so that the kids know that. Like I said, I think I've done a better job with it overall, but that's something I want to continue doing and making sure, again, it's intentional. I'm very conscious about what I'm doing and being there for the students, building relationships with them, being someone who's always very smiley at the door, and all of that. So I definitely think that is something that I hope to continue doing, and being able to be that positive force in the classroom and with other staff, etc. So genuinely feeling that positivity. There are little things to help with the positivity, such as for me, I know listening to music that inspires me or raises my spirits is a great way to kind of get ready for the day. Put together like a playlist of favorite songs, planning activities that I love and I'm really proud of and that are engaging and that will lend themselves to be really exciting in the classroom. Doing all of that, just genuinely caring about the kids, having time to talk to them, not getting hung up in the discipline or the negativity, avoiding people who are, you know, continuous complainers. All of those are ways to just feel very positive. I know I'm always surprised. I don't know if it's just by choice or however it works that I somehow manage to be like in a bubble sometimes, and I don't realize that there is maybe a lot of negativity or things that I didn't really know about that are happening in the school or in education. I kind of just keep myself, maybe I have blinders on to some of that stuff, and it really helps the job be a lot more positive. Sometimes maybe there are certain people who kind of bring others down or are very critical of things, and I've tried as best as I can to avoid that, not let that get to me, and I think that is also a way I'm able to be more positive. So those are my 6 goals I have for this year with teaching, and I'm overall really looking forward to it. I think it will be a positive time. I'm a little nervous just because I am finishing up my master's degree this semester. I've got 2 classes. I took last semester off, so I will be curious to see how that affects kind of the balance of whatnot, but I'm also going to be excited to have that done and have that accomplished. But regardless, I hope you have had a great 2018 so far and that your transition back to school goes very well, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!